before flock cameras and before AI, there were deer check stations.
Is they down?
And ours was at Odell Lumber. It was, it's a lumber store here in town, and they used to clear out a bay and make it to where you could drive through, and everybody who shot a deer 20 miles around me had to come check it in. Can we just bring deer check stations back? Picture this. You're 10 years old. Your dad wakes you up. It's 4:30 in the morning. He wakes your brothers up, takes you downstairs to the living room. You've got your clothes laid out. Well, you've got your guns and everything laid out. And then outside on the porch, you've got your clothes. That way, you know, they're scent-free and all that, which doesn't really matter. It's fun, and it felt fun, but we're going to hit the road, and by 5:30, we're going to be at Uncle Randy's house, and he's going to be frying sausage. He's going to be frying bacon. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I live where Bob Evans was born. Sausage was born where I'm from, and sausage is a big deal where I'm from. And I know what you're saying. Of course, Ricky, of course sausage is a big deal where you come from. It is. Thank you. We're proud, but we're humble. Anyway, so you get there. He's got deer summer sausage frying in the cast iron. I mean, those were the days. Everybody grab a recliner until you start barely seeing the sun pop up, and then we're going to walk up into the woods. Man, deer season as a kid, you just can't beat it. There's just nothing cooler than that. Yeah, so we would go in after dark, drive into town, and we went to our check-in station, which, you know, every county only had a handful of designated deer check-in stations, and ours was Odell Lumber. They had this big lumber bay. They would clear it out to where you could drive cars, you know, plumb through it like a drive-through. Every car or truck had a buck or, you know, dead deer in the bed of the truck, and if a deer was killed within 20 miles of where you lived, you got to see it that night. And just seeing buddies from school, you know, because deer season, I'm talking gun season in particular here, there's a whole culture to gun season. And in fact, my wife doesn't understand why I get so frustrated when I hear someone say, like, yeah, America doesn't have any culture. In the country we do. We have a whole culture. Especially in the hunting community, and growing up and seeing deer, seeing your buddy's deer, you know, a kid that you really only know from the cafeteria, but here he is with a dead, you know, 4-point buck or whatever in the bed of the truck. And that's the other thing. Nobody's like bashing anybody. Everybody's just having a good time, excited, pumped to see whatever you killed. I mean, kids are making fun of each other. Like I remember a buddy shooting a West Virginia 11-point and bragging that he killed a buck, and yeah, 11-point in West Virginia is a spike, by the way. They don't make 11 points across the river. I've heard that there's been, you know, a handful, but I digress. I laugh. I kid. I also don't want John Denver to come back and haunt me because he's not singing about Western Virginia. We never went to school the Monday after Thanksgiving, and my kids still don't. Our schools still are closed Monday after Thanksgiving, which is always the opening day of Ohio's gun season, at least in the southern part of the state. Tuesday, you'd get back to school, and everybody's talking about, I saw the 34-point buck, you know. I wonder if school cafeterias are still like that at all. I'm sure there's a handful of like redneck kids, but it used to be just blanketed. Every kid in the cafeteria more than likely went hunting the day before, and it was just part of the culture. It fed into this machine that motivated you as a young person to be outside, be outdoors. I remember seeing the biggest deer I'd ever seen in my life. A man shot a 12-point. It's in the back of a 97 Ford F-150, and I remember standing there looking at it. It's probably more like a 92 Ford F-150, but because it was probably 1997 when this story happened. But I remember standing in the lumber store looking at that huge buck in the bed of this guy's truck, and it's probably 9:30 at night, and we're all eating hot dogs. And if you're wondering why, it's because the place, the Odell, they would give you like 4 or 5 free hot dogs with whatever you wanted on them for every deer you checked in. So we would usually only kill one deer. You know, there'd be 4 or 5 of us and kill one deer, maybe 2, That's enough hot dogs for the whole crew. You don't really get that on the old app. And I understand. I know there's all kinds of data and probably a lot of metadata that they take in from that. And I'm sure that it's excellent for record keeping and organizing and storing data. But the experience, especially as a young man or a kid, that you get by being around a whole bunch of like-minded folks who are pumped and proud and excited and they're encouraging you and like, oh man, it's good to see you out here. Is there any part of that we can bring back? Because that's what I miss, I think. And I don't want to drive into town and check a deer. And so I get that too. But, oh man, if I could take my kids back in time and let them just be there for that. It's just one of those weird things you don't think about as an adult. You never dwell on, man, that was very impressionable. But that was super impressionable to me. And I remember just seeing guys in jacked up pickup trucks with big old deer in the back, and I thought, okay, all right, I get it. Why is deer hunting as an adult so much different from our childhood? Maybe it's we just know too much. It's like, Adam and Eve, they take a bite of the apple and all of a sudden the veil's lifted. It's kind of like that. You kind of lose the innocence of just going with your best friends, i.e., your dad, your brothers, your uncle, cousins, whomever. And you're just out here to see who can shoot one. And then what are we going to do with it afterwards? If it's a buck, are we going to mount it? It doesn't matter if it's a buck or a doe. We're certainly going to eat part of it today, or at least tomorrow, depending on what time you get it. And I just want to bring a little bit of that spirit back into it. It's not all about, oh, he's 3 years old. Don't get me wrong. My passion is chasing mature whitetail. I love that. It's one of my passions. And I totally get that. And I'm right there with you, my friend. I'm chasing them with you. But don't you miss that? Don't you miss that feeling of just the excitement of the unknown? Didn't have trail cameras. Certainly didn't have cell phone cameras or cell phone trail cameras where you can, see it on your phone. But we didn't even have the ones with film in them yet. No one had a trail camera. Maybe guys on TV had trail cameras. But so you went in the woods totally blind, and there's a wild excitement to not having a clue what's in that holler and then sitting there all day just to find out that it was a bunch of red squirrels. But still, there's just something cool about it. Now, I guess if I was a real purist, I would just get rid of all my trail cameras and, really try to do it. But I'm probably not going to do that. I love trail cameras. I love getting to watch and learn about what's going on back there. But maybe the first step is we bring back deer check stations. Maybe just a handful of them. And, I don't know. Maybe there are a couple physical locations to check deer because I wonder how the Amish do it. We got a lot of Amish. They're wiping deer out. Another thing that I guess is probably a concern for everybody. Is it easier to poach deer now that you can check them online? I don't know. It used to be, I've got a deer shoulder mount right there, and one of these has an aluminum metal band around the horns. And it used to be when you went to the deer check station, one guy's clamping that on the horn or an antler or a leg, and you had to have that. And after you got your deer back from the taxidermist, it would have that metal tag hanging off of it. Those are gone, That's kind of a bummer, but I get it. I also get it. I'm not so silly to think that the world isn't going to change. Yeah, so just some nostalgic musings here. Just wanted to share that with you. It's just been on my mind. What do you miss about your childhood when it came to hunting and getting introduced to the outdoors or fishing? Something special about that when you're a kid. And I think it's easy to forget that when we're dealing with our kids and trying to live and accomplish goals and have a job and yada, yada, yada. Let's take a break and take the kids hunting. I think it is so influential on their lives. My dad's never going to know how much it meant to me. I don't know. Maybe he does. He probably looks at my life and thinks, man, I probably wish I took him a little less. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me. Stick around. I've got some really interesting conversations coming up. Trying some different style videos here in the next few videos you'll see. So stick around. All right, and this is not a paid advertisement. It's just because I'm sitting here in the house, looked over, and there it was. Buck Buck Moose by Hank Shaw. Had this book for close to a decade, I would imagine, at this point. Have made so many good recipes out of this. Just heard this morning that he is redoing this and is re-releasing a new edition of it with like a bunch of new recipes, like 30 or 40 new recipes or something. Again, not a paid advertisement. It's just that good. It's worth getting. I'll have a link in the description if you want it. If you like to shoot deer and then eat them, an essential. It's an essential for the shelf, an essential for the home library. Thank you guys. Cool stuff is coming. I'm pumped up to share it with you. So thanks again. Cheers. Just right out the rip, Bryce.